Good evening. My presentation is on the glucocorticoid receptors in human development and in organic brain disease. Glucocorticoids are essential circadian steroid hormones that regulate perinatal development, emotional processing, memory, the immune system, and metabolism. This is a schematic diagram showing the human brain, and you'll see the hypothalamus, and in the periventricular area of the hypothalamus, it can release corticotropin releasing hormone to the anterior pituitary gland, where adenocorticotropic releasing hormone is produced, ACTH, and ACTH then would travel through the bloodstream to each of the adrenals, the right and left adrenals, and stimulate them to release the glucocorticoids, and that would be the hormone cortisol. Corticoids play an integral role in a wide array of physiological systems in the body: lipid metabolism, glucose metabolism, immunosuppressive and anti-inflammatory reactions, growth, reproduction, and brain function. The effects of cortisol are largely mediated by the glucocorticosteroid receptors. This is a diagram showing a schematic of a glucocorticoid receptor, and the molecule down below is actually a synthetic version of what we would think of as cortisol. Upon binding with cortisol, conformational changes occur. There is a dissociation of the receptor from the multiprotein complex, and the receptors form dimers. Once activated, the ligand-bound glucocorticosteroid receptor complex translocates to the nucleus, and in the nucleus it functions as a transcription factor to regulate gene expression. And this is a little diagram, so to help you visualize, this would be cortisol coming in through the bloodstream and entering the cell, and then finally being able to enter the nucleus of the cell, where it can serve as a transcription factor. Glucocorticoid receptors mediate the direct effects of glucocorticoids released in response to stress and the regulation of the hypothalamic pituitary adrenal corticoid, or HPA, system through a negative feedback mechanism. Individuals with major mental illness who often exhibit hypercortisolemia may have down-regulated levels of the glucocorticoid receptor messenger RNA. And there was one study that was carried out in Iceland, and it made use of a large family that had extensive information about their own genealogy. A genetic linkage map of 2 DNA polymorphisms on the long arm of human chromosome number 5 have been associated with schizophrenia susceptibility. And this was the first evidence that there could be a gene that would be directly involved in the susceptibility for developing schizophrenia. And the gene turned out to code for the glucocorticoid receptor. And that gene was located on the long arm of chromosome number 5. You can see that here in the diagram, and this would be the area where that gene had been located. Schizophrenia is a common disorder with a lifetime prevalence of approximately 1%. The illness often develops in young adults who were previously normal, and it's characterized by a constellation of symptoms, including hallucinations, delusions, psychotic symptoms, and symptoms such as severely inappropriate emotional responses, a disorder of thinking and concentration, erratic behavior, as well as social and occupational deterioration. At a molecular level, polymorphisms, and that means damaged DNA or duplicated or deleted genes in the human glucocorticoid receptor gene, may be associated either with receptor hypo or hyperfunction, which could contribute to differential individual sensitivity to steroid treatment. Recent large population-based studies indicate that some polymorphisms and other gene variants of the glucocorticosteroid receptor are associated with a variety of clinical syndromes, including cardiovascular disease, dementia, rheumatoid arthritis, metabolic syndrome, depression, and bipolar disorder. And you can see here the rheumatoid arthritis can develop because of a malfunction with the body's ability to regulate the immune system, and other autoimmune disorders can also appear, such as multiple sclerosis. This is a diagram showing the various levels of messenger RNA that would code for the glucocorticoid receptor in various different diseases. And this shows the hippocampus and different regions within the hippocampus. And you can see that schizophrenia actually has a little bit lower levels of messenger RNA coding for the receptor, and that also disorders like bipolar and depression are also lower than in the normal healthy controls. Polymorphisms of the glucocorticoid receptor can lead to variable effects on psychiatric diseases. And one of the medications that has been used to treat this is called mifepristone, and it's a potent antagonist of the GR. Glucocorticoid receptor antagonists may be effective in reducing some of the symptoms of psychotic depression if they are used in the correct dosage. Another possible treatment involves treatment of the metabolic diseases associated with this condition, and that's called metabolomics and also lipidomics, because there have been studies that indicate that there are disorders in fatty acid metabolism. And one area that shows some promise is being able to change the diet so that the person might, say, eat a higher ratio of omega-3 fatty acids like fish oils and flaxseed oils, and a lower percentage of, say, omega-6 fatty acids. And that has actually shown to affect the levels of cortisol and have a positive impact on the hypothalamic pituitary adrenal axis. So that is one safe and rather effective therapy that can be used that not only may reduce some of the psychotic symptoms, but also help lower the risk of heart disease and diabetes. So dietary interventions are a promising use